Welcome back to FlexCandle, where we read the candles and flex the moves. I'm Flex, and today we're diving into a full top-down analysis on Bitcoin. As usual, we're going to start from the higher time frames, work our way down, and let's see if we find any good setups. Now remember, this is not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. You're responsible for your own trades. Always do your own research and trade at your own risk. Okay, let's hop into the charts, and let's start off with the monthly today. We haven't checked out the monthly in a couple of episodes, and one thing you can notice is that the 21-day moving average is actually starting to get close to price action. Even though the stochastics are starting to come down, you never know if we might start turning up here. Another thing I noticed is that the 21-day moving average used to be like at 63,500 or something like that, and now it's actually at 64,000. So the 21-day moving average is moving up. This is starting to look bullish for me, even though we still need to be aware that those stochastics are pointing down, and at any point in time we could get a drop. So we need to pay attention to that. Okay, let's move on to the weekly chart. And the weekly chart is the same. The stochastics are pointing up. We still have a lot of room to go up here, and we're above the 21-day moving average. Now the 21-day moving average is at 92,685. This is looking very bullish to me. This closes in about 2 days and 6 hours, so we need to make sure that we close on Sunday above this 21-day moving average. We still have a couple days left. You never know what could happen. We could get a drop, and all of a sudden we don't close above the 21-day moving average. So this is going to be a very important candle, guys. Pay attention to this by Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern time to see where this closes. Now going over to the 4-day chart, we still have a lot of room here in the stochastics to keep running up, and we're above the 21-day moving average. This is starting to get bullish. We still have another day and 6 hours to close out this candle for the 4th day. If this stays above, that's going to be 2 candles confirming above the 21-day moving average, and that's going to be very bullish here. Move on to the daily chart. And the daily chart, we're still dragging here. Been able to call this stochastic pretty on point here. We're still dragging. Let's zoom in into it a little bit, and we're starting to see a little curvature. Maybe it's going to start curving down, but you never know. It could curve down a little bit, then all of a sudden pop up, keep dragging. So we still got to pay attention to that, but it looks like we have some room to move here. And what I'm looking at here, you notice I took off all the patterns that we drew recently. If I put them back on, I have this on the weekly as usual on the falling wedge. This measured move is supposed to go up to like 117, 120 around there. Now going back to the daily, I do see that we're breaking out of this flag. I drew this flag in the 4-hour chart, which we're going to look at in a moment. But one thing that I wanted to point out to you guys is that I'm actually seeing another pattern here that might play out, and this might have to do with the stochastics coming down. If this comes down a little bit and we could stay above the 200-day moving average on the daily, which is currently at 88,870, we could actually form a cup and handle here. And let's just say that this drops down a little bit to the 200-day moving average, and then from there we pop. It looks ugly, but this is just really quickly. I'm just seeing this for the first time. And then the measured move here will be from the bottom of the cup all the way to the top of the handle. And if we put this here, this looks like we could break out to approximately $110,000, which is exactly pretty much where the old-time high of last year. So this is a new pattern that I'm looking at. We're gonna keep that in mind for the future, but just remember I called that cup and handle. Is possible that could play out. See what ends up happening. Now the stochastics, like I said, a little bit high. We gotta wait on this. We're still below the we're above the 21-day moving average and above the 200-day moving average, but we still need this 21-day moving average to catch up to price. Until this doesn't catch up, it's going to be hard for this to make a very big move, and if we make a very big move, it has to drop back down because we're getting too far from the 21-day moving average, and that's currently at 85,126 on the daily. Okay, let's take a look at the 8-hour chart. And the 8-hour chart, the 21-day moving average has already crossed the 200-day moving average. That's currently at 89,991. Let's call it 90,000. So, and as you can see, we kind of broke out of this flag a little bit, but now we're starting to get a little bit of a red candle. The stochastics are starting to point down, but you never know if this might curve up. This might curve up. We might start breaking out of this flag. So this is looking bullish to me. Take a look at the 4-hour chart. This looks good to me. The stochastics are low. It looks like we're pointing up. The 21-day moving average is at 93,119. So we've been holding 93K with good support, and this is very close to price. price action. So this means that this has the ability to rip here on the 4-hour, and then once we get away from the 21-day moving average, it might consolidate and we might come back down to it. So it looks like this flag might start playing out, the one that I drew yesterday. And again, the measured move for this is at 98,500, let's call it. So this is possible that this could happen. Today Bitcoin went out all the way to 95,000, like 750. Right now we're currently like around 95,000 or so. So it's been looking very bullish so far. And now let's take a look at the 1-hour chart. And the 1-hour chart, the stochastics are starting to point down. This looks a little bit bearish. We are above the 21-day moving average, but this shows me if we continue going down, it's possible that we might go a little bit under the 21-day moving average, and it's possible we might go back into this pattern, which is fine because I'm thinking we're going to continue going sideways for a little bit, even though a breakout might happen. I know if you guys saw that this broke out here, some of you guys are excited because that means that this move might play out to 98,000. Let's see what happens. Let's take a look at the 15-minute chart. The 15-minute chart looks pretty good. Those stochastics are low, is on the way up. This looks like a funky pattern here because this kind of looks like an M, and it looks like it broke down, but I don't think it made the full measured move. Could this also be like a head and shoulders? That could be a head and shoulders as well, like a slanted head and shoulders is possible. Right now this looks a little bit odd. This could also just be like a flag that's happening. You know, we could probably flag, this will probably flag out here. This possible we get some type of an ascending triangle or something like that. And if this does break out, the measured move to this would be, the only reason I'm thinking that this might be a flag is just because the stochastics are low here. It's kind of a funky pattern, but the measured move to this is 97.45, so that's possible. With the low stochastics and the 15-minute, we might continue going sideways, and maybe this does break us out today, which would make sense for the 4-hour chart, you know, to play out its other move there. So you know what, I'm gonna leave that flag there and let's see if that 15-minute does play out. Looks pretty interesting to me because the stochastics are low, but I think it makes sense for it to continue going sideways just because the 1-hour chart has to come down. So let's look out for these two flags. We got a mini flag here and the overall bigger flag here, both pointing upwards to $98,000 for Bitcoin. All right, guys. So overall, my sentiment right now is that we're bullish. It looks like we're going to continue going sideways and eventually break out of these flags. Do keep in mind that today is Friday, is approximately 3 p.m. at the time of this recording, Eastern time. So things start to die out a little bit, usually Friday and on the weekends. Usually when we're very, very bullish, you could see some good moves on a Saturday and a Sunday, but for the most part, things kind of die out until like Monday and Tuesday. So don't be surprised if things just go sideways until then, but I'm still predicting a 9,900K Bitcoins to look out for that. All right, so that's the breakdown. If this gave you clarity or a setup to watch, do me a favor, like, drop a comment and subscribe. And if you have a stock or crypto you want me to go over, drop it in the comment section. This is FlexCandle, where we read the candles and flex the moves. Catch you in the next chart.